Hey guys, Matt from Adventurecruiser here, and today I want to talk about a new pitfall with buying a Motorola radio. This has specific interest for those interested in the Motorola Ion or the APX Next. Now, as some of you may know, I did own an APX Next for a while, and it was fun. It started out as a paperweight, and then I got it working on my CPS, and then some other bad stuff happened. We're going to talk about that after I get through talking about this radio, though. This is the Motorola MOTOTRBO Ion. As I said, it is a DMR and analog radio. It does not do P25, and it is single band. The APX Next is multi-band, typically VHF, UHF 7800, but this one is only UHF and DMR. Now, inside the software and the case of this is basically a smartphone paired with a RF transceiver in, again, the UHF spectrum. See, powered by Android. Now, there are some really nice things about this radio. I do think that the menu layout that they've come up with for the radio controls is vastly superior to what they've done in the past for Motorola. That's a step in the right direction. However, I also think that there are some major issues with this radio. Now, I do not own this radio. A friend is letting me borrow it for this video, but I did try to program it, and I'll tell you, I can't. I can't get it to program. Now, I hope those are all RX only. Pretty sure they are. Here's the challenge. When I connect it to CPS, and I've downloaded the most recent version of CPS and installed drivers and restarted my computer a lot, it asks if I have a genuine cable because nothing can be found. So I did some searching, and I'm going to post the link to the website I was reading from down below, so check the notes for that. Basically, when you encounter an error where it says it doesn't like the cable, what it really means is that this has not been provisioned for local programming. It is using a radio management style cloud-based programming system, which is very restrictive. And that's kind of a problem because I don't have that account. I have a Motorola online account, but I don't have that specific subscription. So I'm not real sure how to get around that, nor do I really want to spend a lot of time on it because, again, this is not my radio. This is a friend's. So let's talk about some of the features, and then I really want to dive into the pitfalls of this cloud-based radio programming system in a little bit. So stay tuned for that, and I will explain what happened to my APX Next then too. So this radio was sent to me with a Bluetooth speaker mic, a traditional speaker mic, and unfortunately they all have a new connection. This is not the same connection as the APX or the XPR 7550. It is new, it is different, and I had to buy the new cable. As I said, I bought a genuine Motorola programming cable that this radio doesn't like. So that's annoying. The other thing is, I like things that are self-explanatory, that are easy to figure out. Remember when the APX line, and I think they still do have this, had the blue dots, where you touch the blue dots together and it instantly Bluetooth pairs? That was cool. This, not so much. So what I did was, I thought, without reading any instructions, any manuals, I'm going to pair this microphone to the radio. And I went through the Bluetooth menu and I got it to put the audio through this, but I couldn't get the transmit audio to go back through the radio. Apparently I paired it in the phone's Bluetooth menu, not the radio's Bluetooth menu. And I can't find a radio Bluetooth menu. So guys, those of you with experience, please let me know what I'm doing wrong. But the point is, it's not intuitive. And I don't like that. I really don't. This should be a simple pair process, and it's not. The other thing I don't like is that this is just not very ergonomic, but you know what? If you're gonna combine objects together like this, a phone and a radio, there's no way to make it ergonomic, and that's okay. I can put up with that. I am not a big fan. Oh, I'm wrong. I am a big fan. This continual channel knob is something I really like. I understand why people have 16 channel options and it has hard stops at each end, but I typically program my BK radio so that it turns and then bonks when you've reached the end, so that you can still get those hard stops. But I do like that. It has your traditional emergency button, volume, power. You have your typical 3 buttons on the side. Since it's a DMR radio, I'm going to compare it to another DMR radio. The push to talk is very tactile, very nice. Again, why Motorola? Is it just because this is too wide? I don't like having so many new connectors. Yeah. So if we go down through the menu on this and we go into the radio options, there are a few different ways of getting into the radio options. There are some cool features. You can change the audio settings, your channel knob, you can disable, enable. Come on. Yeah, see, disabled, enabled. Your scan is here, your scan lists, but again, they're not really editable unless you have been given those provisions. I think if you have an entire department on these or company, you can make it make sense. But for what it is, I don't think that it has any application for me as a business owner. It just isn't quite there. But let's talk about the worst pitfall of all with one of these smart radios. And that is, as a hobbyist, we often buy and sell radios from places like OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, you name it. These radios are sometimes challenging because, as I said, unless the radio has been provisioned for local programming from a PC, you're done. When I had my APX Next, it was locked out so that I couldn't program it without access to the cloud software. There was a version 4.2 firmware for the radio that did allow you to do CPS programming, but that had to be sent to the radio and enabled first from the cloud, and then I could do it locally. Now, I don't know what system this is affiliated with. And I don't know if I even call Motorola if they're going to open it up or not. And I'm a little bit leery of this. I'm a little gun shy because that's why I don't have my Next anymore. I bought my APX Next, that beautiful bright green APX Next, from a guy that I'd bought radios from before, who bought them from a guy he knew, from a guy he knew, and so on. And it turns out they all got the radios from a guy that stole them, allegedly, from a department. Now, to the department's blessings, most of those radios have been tracked down and returned. But for guys like me, we're out a lot of money because all of a sudden our radios are now stolen, and it's the appropriate thing to do is to return stolen property. And when I called Motorola to try and get this opened up, the radio serial number had been flagged, and a detective from that department that lost the radio, reached out to me, and we had a series of long conversations, and I had to prove to him that I had nothing to do with the theft. But I did return the radio to him, as well as 2 other mobile radios that I had that I paid heavily for. And when I ran the serial numbers, those also were sold to that department and allegedly stolen and then resold to a guy like me. Now, this is a big pitfall. Even though I legitimately bought that APX Next from a guy I'd bought radios from before, and I had no reason to believe that it was in any way stolen or that there was anything wrong with it, I lost the radio. It was taken from me. And I don't want to get into the legality of that. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to caution you against buying one of these smart radios because you don't know where it came from. You don't know if the person who sold it to you is the legal owner, but what you do know is that they can now track it, and that they will. And if I contact Motorola to get an APX Next added to my account, I have to be able to prove clearly that I bought it. And in this case, because I bought it from a friend of a friend of a friend, you know, there wasn't an eBay track on it. And I'm talking a little bit outside of my realm of knowledge, so forgive me. But the bottom line is, guys, be really careful with these radios because I've lost a lot of money on one of them. Now, it wasn't an Ion, obviously, but it did make me a little bit paranoid about calling Motorola on this one. Now, again, I don't own this one, so it's not really my deal. But when I found out I couldn't program this from a laptop, I contacted the guy who owns it, and I said, hey, I need to contact Motorola. Are you sure that this is not a stolen radio? Because I don't want you to lose your radio, but I also don't want to be in possession of stolen property. That is not what I want at all. And he said, no, I'm confident that it's clean. So I am going to contact Motorola, and I am going to have to give them the serial number and the IMEI and all that fun stuff. But the reality is nobody expected this radio to be locked out, and yet it is. If you don't have a good source at Motorola and a legitimate reason for asking them to add it to your account, and you don't have a radio management account, this could be a really big pitfall for you. They're flashy, they're fun, but they carry some risk. So be careful buying these new next generation cell phone radios. If for no other reason, your cell phone lasts you 2 years max, don't you want your radio to last longer? I don't like the idea of putting a cell phone in a radio. I think it is not a long-term solution. But that's my opinion. That's all I got for you today. Take care, have fun. Let me know if you have any thoughts on the matter, and check out the link below for what it means to not be able to communicate with this from a laptop. I think that article did a really great job, and I don't want to rehash that. So thank you, take care, talk to you soon.